Hi guys, my name is Kirsty. Welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we're going to be looking at why you need to read Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce. So I decided to do this a little bit differently because this book is a special book for April. I actually did a TBR jar in one of my latest videos, which you may or may not have seen, where I am trying to get on top of some of the advanced reader copies I have been sent that have been backlogged on my shelf for the longest time. So Dear Mrs. Bird was one of the first books that I've pulled out, and I have finished it. I have found this to be a rather successful tactic so far in getting onto these books. So Dear Mrs. Bird was published 2 years ago now, actually. It was in 2018, so we're not even going to talk about how belated this review is. This was sent to me by Picador, which is an imprint of Pam Macmillan. So, yes, I'm sorry, I did not get around to this sooner. This has actually been something I've been really anticipating for a really long time because it's historical fiction set in London during the Blitz, so World War II, and we have such a good cast of plucky characters. The story follows a character called Emmeline, who is known as Emmy, and her best friend Bunty. They live together, and Emmeline, or Emmy, wants to become a war correspondent, but she's currently working at a solicitor's office and volunteers her nights at the fire brigade, helping when and after there are bombings to clear up the mess afterwards. Now, she's a very busy lady and she is very passionate about her dreams, and she thinks she lands her perfect job with a journalist in a magazine or a newspaper, I'm not entirely sure which, but she ends up working for a women's magazine. The job was slightly misadvertised, and this is her story about working there and how she tries to make the best of a worse situation but just seems to continuously put her foot in things. And so it's a really funny story, but like super heart-touching at the same time and quite upsetting. Now, I'm not going to talk too much here about what I thought of this book because I have actually decided to sort of vlog my experience reading it. So I'm now just going to sit back and let you watch a series of clips of my thoughts as I read this book at different points and sections throughout it. Okay, so we're in a bit of a... where are we at? Hi, hello. So today I'm actually sticking to my promise of reading my TBR jar, and I'm starting with Dear Mrs. Bird. So if you've watched my video at the start of the month when I announced that I was going to be doing a TBR jar for my ARCs, then you will know that this was one of the books that I pulled out. I'm just about to start this one now. I'm running a bath at the moment and I'm going to sit in the bath and have a read and a nice chilled out session. I've had a really busy day and I'm probably going to have an incredibly busy week, and that's probably going to be what I say every time I check back in with this vlog because that's my life. So 300 pages of an historical sort of intriguing novel. I am really excited to read this. I have high expectations that I'm going to enjoy it, so I will check in with you after the bath when I have some first impressions of what this is going to be like. So here's to hoping that this is amazing. So I have read 30 pages of Dear Mrs. Bird and I'm actually really loving it. It's got an awesome writing style to it, so that was a really big surprise. This is a very energetic book considering it's about wartime, but the characters, I almost say character, but really all of the characters are really plucky and really, really likeable. So far I'm absolutely loving it. Obviously I'm only 30 pages in, which is more or less only about 10% of the book, so I'm expecting that this will just get better, which is fantastic, but I just love it. I love the tone of this book so far. It's really exciting to read and I really want to keep reading it, and I feel like I haven't actually picked up a book for a while where I've gone, I don't want to stop reading this because this is just so enjoyable. So I will keep you updated with how this progresses. So it's the 4th of April when I'm checking in with you. I've made some really good progress on this book and I'm absolutely loving it. So I had such a good feeling when I started it that I was going to like this, and I definitely am. So I'm now just at about page 200 and the book is just really sweet and uplifting. I'm enjoying every page, every chapter, and I'm wanting to keep picking it up. We've got such wonderful characters and it is just a fun read. Like, everything about it, despite being historical fiction, is really enjoyable, and I am really loving returning to the story each time I pick it up again, because of the style of writing is so inviting for the reader to join this world and to kind of see the positive in such a difficult situation. So I think this is a really wonderful book and I'm definitely going to be recommending this heavily when I finish reading it. I'm sure it won't take too long to finish reading it. I have been reading quite a lot at a time when I do actually sit down to go. So I've got about 100 pages left. I'm thoroughly impressed and really surprised that Given that it's been quite a while since this was actually released, and it's just taken me a long time to get around to it, I'm really surprised that this hasn't taken off more, so I would love to see more people reading this for sure. Some of the reasons that this is so exciting is because the characters have such varying jobs, so with the main character working as a typist for what turns out to be a women's magazine, and her daring do to write back to people who write into the magazine about problems that the actual editor refuses to answer because they're not proper. That's really fun, given that the main character actually wants to be a war correspondent. Very different to that, it's much more light-hearted, and her best friend is awesome and she works at the war office or something like that, and we don't know much about what she does, but her boyfriend, her partner, her best friend's partner, works with the fire brigade, and so we get some really exciting scenes when the main character, who also volunteers at this fire station, we get to see sort of some of the action happen during the air raids and how well that they just cope with it. So that is such a fascinating look into it, and there's always something exciting. Only 10:30 at night. I have 70 pages to go of Dear Mrs. Bird, and I absolutely have to know how it finishes because currently it is absolutely devastating and I am heartbroken, so I need to know how this ends. So can confirm that at about page 230 this book will tear your heart into tiny, teeny, tiny pieces. So by the time I got to the end of this book, I had absolutely loved it. I've given this 5 out of 5 stars. It's got to be one of my favourite reads for this year so far. I'm still on the fence as to whether I'm going to deem this a favourite book. I don't think I will. I don't think it was quite that good, but I don't mean that in a bad way. This was an absolutely fantastic read. So I've really not seen that many people reading this, even in the historical fiction circles. So I really hope that you see this on the shelf, and there are many different covers, so make sure you keep an eye out for variances and pick it up and have a read because it's really enjoyable. And I don't think that this is just accessible to people who enjoy history. This is very much so a book for anybody who enjoys a good story with a bit of romance, a fantastic friendship, and some real drama within. So if you have read this, let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts were, but other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.